Hey, how's it going? My name is King Jobs or Jobs, and on a recent upload of mine, a viewer requested I make a video on how to win more gunfights. And between that comment and the return of the sweatiest, YYing, and stim-boosting demons running around in Rebirth, I'm here today to cover gunfight fundamentals, which will help you be prepared for any type of player you come across. Now, to do this properly, we're going to cover 8 different things that factor into winning more gunfights. And I've also paired up every tip with in-game clips of mine that will hopefully make transitioning everything into your own gameplay a breeze. Now, these are the 8 categories, but the first thing we're going to be starting off with is one which will set you up for success in all the other areas. And they are your top 8 sweat deleting settings. So let's get into it. All right, first up, we have dead zones. And if you don't know what dead zones are or what they do, it's basically adjusting how sensitive your joysticks are and how much input is required to get your crosshair moving. The range that everyone uses on their own controller is going to be a little different, but I recommend anything in the range of 0 to 6 for the minimum on the right stick and a max of probably 65 to 80 on the left. Your right stick minimum dead zone is determined by how much stick drift your controller naturally has. So if you have an old beat up controller, I'd probably go for something a little bit higher. But if your controller is brand new out of the box, crank that baby down until you have just a little bit of stick drift. And in general, that's the goal. You want to have a little bit of stick drift, but nothing crazy where your cursor's moving all over your screen. Next up, we have sensitivity. And I'd recommend anything in the 5 to 10 range. I myself plan 8-8, but you really shouldn't be lower than 5-5 since you won't be able to turn around quickly or bob and weave and make sharp movements to get away from players if it's too low. Now, there's nothing wrong with going higher than 10-10. If you can hit your shots on a higher sense, that's totally fine. But otherwise, I'd recommend sticking in the 5 to 10 range. And if you're struggling to try and move your sense up and stop playing on something like 3-3, for example, a tip is to crank up your sensitivity to 10-10, hop into multiplayer for like an hour or two, and then lower it down to the sense that you want after that. I myself have done this multiple times whenever I'm trying to play around with my sensitivity. And when you go from that high sense down to that low one, it makes the transition a lot easier. Third, we have our response curve. And this one is pretty standard across almost all creators, all pro players, everything. Dynamic is the most common response curve type used by players in the entire scene. Next up, we have aim assist type, and there is a little bit of debate about this one, and especially in Season 3, I've seen a lot of people talking about, oh, something changed, default feels better, Black Ops feels different. I don't know. I tried default for a bunch of games, and it just didn't feel quite right to me. So I've been using Black Ops since the game came out, and I'm still on Black Ops now. To me, it just feels a little bit better. But if one of these feels better to you, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. So either go with default or Black Ops. I'd recommend Black Ops personally, but whichever one you prefer, totally fine. The one thing though is just pick one and stick with it. Swapping between these regularly will affect your aim and throw off your shots. Now we're getting into the movement a little bit, and this one is your tactical sprint setting, and I recommend that you all have automatic tactical sprint on. And unless you're competing in something that requires you to have this off, you should be using this setting. However, there is one exception though, which is when I'm running akimbo weapons or shotguns, because automatic tactical sprint affects your sprint to fire when you're trying to use those. Sometimes it won't let you shoot right away when you want to. That's the only time I'll turn that off. So if another akimbo meta or shotgun meta arises, I'll probably have it off for a bit. Otherwise, you should leave this on. The 6th best setting that you should have is damage-based hit markers. And the reason why is that this will show if you've hit a headshot or not on an opponent, which it is a little situational, especially if you're not a super sweaty player. But sometimes it does make a difference and can help give you a little bit more information of how weak someone is. You know, you can tell if you've hit a headshot or two on a player. Even if you haven't gotten a crack yet, they're going to be pretty weak and very easy to push. So I highly recommend that you guys turn these on. All right, 2 settings left. Second to last is going to be your minimap shape. This one you guys should have set to square simply because it offers more space on your minimap. It's tough to win gunfights when you're missing out on red dots on your screen, when you don't know that people are close to you. The minimap is one of the most important things in the game, and having it be as big as possible is incredibly important. And last but not least, we have our crosshair settings. So I have mine set to static, so it's not moving around. And I also have the center dot set to largest. I find that this really helps me with my centering, and centering or always keeping your crosshair somewhere that the enemy could be coming from is an incredibly important part of winning gunfights consistently. Now that's all the settings that we're covering for the purposes of this video, but if you have any questions about any other settings, or maybe you'd like a more detailed video on settings in the future, leave a comment down below. All right, and now that your settings are good to go, how do you translate that to your aim specifically? Well, there are a couple of incredibly important things to know about aiming in Warzone. And the first one is that on controller, you have to know about rotational aim assist. Rotational aim assist is activated only when you move your left stick. And as we go through these clips, I've got them lined up first at full speed, and then I'll play it back and zoom in on the left stick so you guys can see what I'm doing while I'm shooting at players. But first, to show you how important rotational aim assist is, here's a quick side-by-side so you can see what it looks like when I'm moving and when I'm not moving. All right, with that, let's get into the clips. So in this first clip, I don't have a lot of room to move around, but notice how I'm going back and forth with the left stick really quickly. Now, it doesn't take much to activate that rotational aim assist, but just a little bit of movement ensures I'm getting it and helps me to hit more shots. This next clip is displaying mounting, which is an incredibly important tool in your aiming kit, but I recommend mainly only using it when it's really long distance or the player isn't looking at you. Mounting up is a great way to get knocked if you're not careful. But notice how when I'm mounted, I'm not really using my left stick, and it's still pretty easy to hit shots just because of how much it reduces recoil. Now, clip number 3 has extremely important information about rotational aim assist in it. And you guys might not know this, but rotational aim assist is active even when your character model isn't moving. So when you're laying down like I am here, make sure that you're pulling left or right on your stick. Or if you're sitting in a corner, activate that rotational aim assist by moving backwards into the corner. In the fourth clip here, I have a bit more room to move around, so I'm adjusting a lot with my left stick to help with my aim as my target moves around. In the fifth clip here, once again, just quick little back and forth since my target isn't moving much here. Same thing here for clip number 6, lots of little back and forth. And lastly, once again, I'm just laying down, but I'm pulling back on the stick the whole time to make sure I'm getting maximum aim assist. So overall, between all of these clips, the goal that you guys should keep in the back of your mind is to get your crosshairs centered onto your target with the right stick and then begin to activate that rotational aim assist from there and keep it active the entire time you're shooting. Of course, you'll need to do a little bit of recoil control with the right stick, depending on the gun or the build of the weapon, but for the most part, you'll just need to pull down a little bit. Next, we have a clip from a solo trios game, and why I'm still including this in the aiming section, but using it as a transition to the movement section is because it starts with good aim. First, watch what I'm doing as I'm going up these stairs. I'm keeping my crosshairs where an opponent could be coming from. In bio, it's really hard to tell which floor people are on, so it's best to always just be centered at all times. Once I get up high enough, I know the enemies are above me, but I don't know exactly where. So I'm paying extra attention to keeping my gun up and aimed where someone could be coming from, so I don't have to adjust a lot once I do see them. And that's what centering is. And now let's get into the movement section as we finish out this clip. So right off the rip, as soon as I bust down the door, I get hit with a scatter mine, which stuns my movement. But then watch what I do. Since I can't move at all, I drop shot twice in the fight. If I just stayed stationary on the ground there the whole time, his teammate probably kills me. Then this is something else I want to point out. Notice as I jump off and I hit the side rail. And admittedly, this was not 100% intentional, but angled surfaces cause less fall damage than flat ones in COD. Now for clip number 2 in the movement section, we have a great example of what grounded mantling can do for you in terms of movement. Because sometimes with grounded mantles, you'll get these really fast climbs that can really throw off an opponent. For clip number 3, we get into the fun stuff in terms of movement, which is the camera or cammering. Here, my opponent puts me weak, pushes, I fake him out a couple times, and then slide out to hit him with that camera. And even though I'm much weaker than they are at the time, I still am able to take them out because I go all the way past them, giving me the absolute advantage in the fight. Here's another example in this next clip. Once again, I'm baiting the opponent into thinking I'm going one way, and when they bite, I commit to the camera, and that lets me win the gunfight, even though I'm at a health disadvantage. And also notice too, my shots aren't that great here, but because my movement was so good, I was able to win the gunfight pretty easily. And now in this last clip, I only have one plate on and a pistol, so I'm really not in a great spot. But I hug the wall, so if someone coming through it, the doorway can't see me right away. I slide by them, immediately drop shot, hit my shots, and I somehow win the fight, even though I only have a pistol and one plate. All right, next up, we're moving into category number 3, which is game sense and awareness. In this first clip, I hear a loadout pop, and as it's late in the game, someone popping a loadie means that they probably don't have a ton of loot. So I immediately begin to push towards where I heard that sound. I then see the smoke and the loadout fall, and given that this player is on low ground, I know that this is a pretty safe time to be aggressive, and it's not too hard to secure the kill from there. And this is a big thing in terms of winning gunfights, is putting yourself in situations where you have an advantage, whether it be height, better loot, more health, whatever it is, right? That's an important thing that you guys need to pay attention and keep in the back of your mind as you're going through your games. Getting that advantage, keeping that advantage, and capitalizing it. Those are all extremely important things. And that's really where game sense and awareness comes into play. Now for clip number 2, we have a perfect example of a third party. And like I was just saying, we're looking for where we have advantages here. And after 2 people have just fought, one of them, the winner, is most likely going to be weak. So this is a perfect time to try and get into a gunfight. Now, I don't have the best shots here, but it doesn't even matter because I'm taking advantage of 2 players who just fought in close combat. This guy was weak, so I don't even have to hit all my shots to still win the gunfight. Now, before we move into what is arguably my favorite section of the video, on my last upload, 90% of you weren't subscribed. So hopefully I've earned your subscription at this point in the video, but if I haven't yet, I'm pretty confident that this next section will do it. But either way, thanks for watching, and I hope y'all are learning a lot. All right, let's move on to the next area, and this is one of my favorites and one that I imagine a lot of you struggle with, which is gonna be your speed of play. Now, what I mean when I say speed of play is basically how quickly you make decisions and then act on them. So let's go through a couple of examples of when you need to play fast and commit to engagements and when you should slow down. First up, we have an example on top prison. I see an enemy land back and start pushing. By the way, I love climbing on these surfaces as it gives me the ability to see where people are and maybe get a couple shots on them before they shoot me. But anyway, I find him, put some damage in on him, and then watch this. The second I hit him and he doesn't hit me, I start pushing. But notice here, my double hit marker for a headshot, that's incredibly important and why I brought it up in the beginning of the video in the settings. But also notice how I don't push directly along the wall. Swinging out a bit, while it does make it easier for him to hit me, it also makes it easier for me to hit him and secure the kill, instead of him just having a nasty head glitch on the triangle. Now in the second clip here, it's an example of where I slow down. Slowing down here creates less sound and can allow you to sneak up on your opponent, which will give you an advantage in any engagement. Running up the stairs here is tough because anyone above you has a natural head glitch on the AC unit to play around. So getting the drop on anyone up here is incredibly important. Going immediately into the next clip, we kill the same guy again and then I start getting sniped at. Now, since I have a pretty good long range weapon and I know the sniper doesn't have a one shot, I can ego chow him a bit and know that I'm probably gonna win the damage trade. Now, once I get a crack and he ducks behind cover, I'm pushing up. You wanna make your opponent look away from you and then push up once they're not looking at you, or just reposition. The name of the game here is to get them to look away and not see where you're moving to. Now, I will say that a better player here would snake this half wall while plating up, but since he just goes behind the AC unit, he can't see me anymore, so I can push for free, and then it's a close but secure kill. Now for the last clip in the speed of play section, we're gonna watch one where I messed up and was getting way too cute with my grenades. But anyway, this player should have pushed me and been more aggressive on capitalizing on how much damage they did to me. But they play too slow here. Should have just full sent me once they got me this week, instead of climbing up above me, running around, waiting for me to come out. That gave me way too much time to plate up, and I can just hear where he is and know where to challenge from. Okay, moving on to the next section, we have how to use equipment to help you win fights. And a lot of times this goes hand in hand with speed of play. Equipment helps you make pushes or defensive plays or open up engagements. And there might not be a better item for that than the drill charge, especially in solos. So in this first clip here, I get a quick kill on someone dropping on me for whatever reason, and then I can see someone pushing for a third party. I locate the player, drill charge his cover, and then immediately push. I don't sit there and wait for my drill charge to explode, because if I had, he just backs up, still in cover, and just goes right back to the head glitch, and then I'm caught out in the open pushing him while he has a lot of cover. When I push off of my drill charge before it goes off, he has to move or tank it, and either way, I'm at the advantage when I push him this fast. Same thing here in this next clip. This guy is trying to push me, but once again, I drill charge and immediately move up. He has some pretty good movement here, but it doesn't matter. The smoke from the drill charge helps me out, covers my push a little bit, and it makes him also plate up. So notice here, I'm doing damage, creating a smoke screen, and immediately capitalizing on that damage, okay? Now in this third clip, I get caught a little off guard and immediately play for height since he had a head glitch there on the AC unit right by the door. But in the process, I get put weak. Now, I know he only has a deagle, but if I'm him, I'm 100% pushing me here, totally. I'm literally one shot to a deagle. But anyway, he doesn't push me. He lets me play it up and then keeps playing the head glitch. So I just throw a nade with the intention of pushing him immediately after I throw it, but instead I just stick him and secure the kill. For the fourth clip, this is a great way to deal with snipers, which are incredibly common on Rebirth. I see a little bit of sniper glint and immediately I go to hit him with a frag grenade. Now, what I'm trying to do here is line up peeking with the same time that my grenade is going to go off, because that's the only way I can output as much damage as a sniper when I don't have one myself. You combine the damage of the grenade with your bullets. Now, my first grenade doesn't connect, but my second one does. So what do? As I have in all the other clips before, I immediately push. And notice this whole time, I'm trying to put as much damage on him as I can from different spots in case he's trying to snipe me. I'm being unpredictable, moving around. Anytime that he isn't looking at me, I'm moving to a different place. So I'm shouldering the wall to try and keep an eye on where he is, making sure that I'm not peeking for too long. I restock my nades, cook one, crack him, and then once again, push immediately. To be fair, he does make it pretty easy for me by just running out in the open. Now, what do you do if you're him in this situation? You have to just tank the nade, plate up, or you need to smoke and run. You can't just run out in the open like this. Clip number 5 in this section once again has drill charges, which this fight could have gone poorly for me, but thankfully this guy missed his drill charges first, but I hit mine, so he has to move. And if he had hit his drill charge first, I'm the first one to move, and he can probably win the fight in this situation. Now for the last clip in this section, I just drop back in to grab my loadout and get caught off guard. This guy knows I'm weak, so I have to smoke to break line of sight. And one note on this, my smoke could have been better, but since it wasn't, I have to turn and fight him. So I hit him with a throwing knife and easily secure the kill from there. Okay, next up, let's get into positioning, which is an incredibly important part of winning gunfights. So this first clip is from a solo trios game, but as someone is watching the loadout, I get put weak, and as I run through the building in case I'm getting pushed by that guy, I run into these two. Notice how I keep moving from here. I immediately break the line of sight with the stairs, close the door behind me, and as I go through it, I play cover to get further into the building, and then I post up on a head glitch. Then I listen for audio cues and cook them from there. Now, the reason why I had my Holger out here is because in solo trios, I'm probably not gonna have enough ammo in just my sub to take out all three of them. So I need to get an entry knock with the Holger before I pull out my sub, and then I can deal with the other two. Now in the second clip here, I'm gonna critique some opponents so you guys can see what not to do in terms of positioning. Now, we start things off by me shooting at these two guys, taking the gondola up to the top of prison roof. And after getting one weak, I decide I want to push them. But once I get up there, notice what they're doing. They're just standing out in the open on top prison without paying attention to their back at all. Top prison is extremely tough to play because there are so many different ways to get up onto the roof. So having two people up where anyone on the roof can see you, it's not just like they're on top prison roof, right? They're on the highest point of the roof, in the middle. And neither of them are watching their back or having their head on a swivel. So especially when you're playing top prison, you need to be paying extra attention to your surroundings, always looking around and keeping an eye on your positioning. Now, clip number 3 is one that I like a lot. I hear a guy outside my window and hit him a couple of times. But then notice I don't push from the same spot I shot him from. That's way too predictable, and he could be just waiting around the corner on cover and I would get killed because of that. Instead, I walk inside and notice what I do from here. I stutter step quickly to finish my reload before going around the corner, just in case he was trying to do the same thing to me. I also recommend doing this stutter step with plates too. And thanks to the change in the direction I push from, it turns into an easy kill for me. Now for clip number 4, we're once again on top prison, and I saw a guy go into the room in front of me, but I can hear a guy below me on the bottom floor near the zip line. And since the roof is a pretty desirable spot going into the end zone here, I guess that guy is going to take the zip line, especially if he hears me and this other guy fighting. So I chill out for a second, calmly snipe the guy once he pushes up the zip line, and then I immediately look for the third party. And this is really how you need to play on top prison. If you're fighting up here, especially in the end game, just expect to get third party from somewhere else. So you need to be playing in a way that's going to keep you safe from all the different directions you can get shot from on top of prison. And now in the last clip of the section, I'm trying hard to regain after landing back to where I just died. This guy knows where I am since he just killed me and can see me on his UAV. So I'm trying to find plates before I fight him. Anyway, we poke at each other, but nothing hits. So I push first, he pushes second, and I win because of that. But then I hear someone else coming to third party. So I have to run, especially without many plates, but then I get away and eventually play for height. That's when I hear him climb the ladder. Playing for height here got me a free kill, and I just did it before he did. So that's another incredibly important part of positioning, is trying to get height in any kind of situation you can, whenever you can. All right, and now for the last section before we move into pulling everything together, which is the mental aspect of winning gunfights. And there are 3 parts that make up the mental aspect. First up, we have patience. So here in this clip, I get tagged up and I have to start the fight at a disadvantage. But then to stop him from pushing, I snake the heady while plating up. So I can always see where he is, but he can't really shoot me. Now, I almost get the knock here, but then I hear a dropper coming in, and people love to land an instantly third party when you're fighting on top of prison. Now, I'd love to push this guy since I cracked him, but I can't in case someone lands behind me. I then try to push again, and another dropper flies right over my head. So at this point, the guy I was shooting at has totally reset, and I can't just full send him anymore. Now, we don't get the kill here, but we don't die either. You don't have to take, and you don't have to fully commit to every single gunfight if it doesn't make sense to do so. For clip number 2, we have composure, or focusing in when you need to. Now, I was kind of in la land here at the start, but I clutch up even though my opponent definitely had the upper hand. But we don't end here because I immediately get third party. I have to reload and plate up, and I need to stall for a little bit. And I do, but then I get weak again, so I have to stall some more. But eventually I escape and then see another player. But do I shoot at him? Nope, because that will probably make me weak, and the guy who was initially chasing me will then get the drop on me. So I bide my time, hold my shot, and then I get a free kill. And the last thing that factors into mental when it comes to gunfights is going to be your confidence. And for me and some of my friends who have been trying to improve at Call of Duty, the #1 way to improve your confidence is practice. That means playing a lot of games. That means warming up beforehand. And one of the best tips that I have is to set up a private match in multiplayer, set it to free-for-all, turn up the difficulty on the bots, and then turn off your aim assist. Just getting into the flow of things and shooting, moving, playing your life, even though it's just against bots, it gets you a lot of experience with a lot of different gunfights, and that is going to translate to all of your games. So I highly recommend, if you guys are struggling with your confidence or you're kind of worried, I don't think I can kill this guy, just begin to practice as much as you can. 15 minutes a day in a private match is going to pay dividends when it comes to your performance in a real game. And it's going to translate to a lot more winning gunfights. All right, so now that we've gone into all 8 different things that factor into winning gunfights more often, let's combine everything together to show you all how it looks. First up, we have an extension of the clip from earlier, but what's important is right after that clip. So we take this guy out, but notice that he's also getting shot at. So game sense and awareness wise, we know that someone else is up here on the roof with us, and they're pretty close. So I'm immediately looking out for them, paying attention to my audio cues, and keeping my positioning smart. I try to stay in cover, and aiming wise, I try to do as much damage as I can whenever I can. I then pre-fire the push that he's going to make, and I also jump, using my movement to give me a better angle to hit shots instead of just standing there on the head glitch, not moving around, which ultimately leads to me getting a tough kill. In this next clip here, the guy I'm not shooting at isn't shooting back. So why am I still jumping here? Because I'm getting shot at by a sniper. And to me, in this clip, it sounds like it one-shot. So I don't want to get headshot, but I still want to get this kill down low, so I make myself a hard target to hit. I then use my equipment to smoke offensively, play cover to get him weak, and then, thinking about speed of play, I act off of my advantage. He does hit a nice shot here, but over peaks, which in turn makes it too easy of a kill for me after pushing. Putting it all together here in clip number 3, I start the clip off by dropping a mine, and then we do about the same amount of damage to each other. And since this is solo trios, I have to back off. I can't risk chasing when I'm that weak. But then after being patient, I get a knock, and thanks to my mine, now it's time to push. I engage with my bomb drone here and then watch this mantle, like literally crazy how grounded mantle works sometimes. I'm actually shooting even before I have my gun out. Now here, I get put weak and do not do enough damage, so once again, I have to back out. A little critique for myself here, I should not have ran as far away as I did. I need to be able to re-engage quicker than I did. But then the movement is nice here, so I break line of sight multiple times, get away, reset, and then go back for the kill. All right, and the last clip of this video might just be the cleanest. So to start off with, I play slow as this guy is sliding around, and I'm pretty sure he knows I'm here just due to the audio cues. And he also seems to have pretty decent movement, so I need to be kind of careful. First, I hit him with a little scatter mine to slow that movement down, get a free kill, and then I peep the minimap and see both of his teammates on my level pushing me. I hit one with the slide cancel and another one with the step back for the 3-piece. So all together here in this clip, combining a lot of movement, map awareness, using my equipment, and of course, aiming well to secure the kills. So hopefully between all these clips, you guys have been able to pick up on a thing or two and identify at least one specific part of your game which needs some work. Because in order to start winning more gunfights against some of the sweatiest players out there, you'll need to be proficient in most, if not all of these areas. So good luck with the practice. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't yet, and I will see you all in the next one.